Hi, everyone. Steve Westman, live Audiophile Roundtable. Is this the golden age of audiophile reissues? Is it? Well, welcome. Welcome back, I guess. I mean, it's been a week. This hobby is beginning to explode if you're an audiophile. I mean, are we actually in the golden age of audiophile reissues, or are we just starting to feel like it's because everything's happening at once? Now, depending on who you talk to, there's two different answers. You got one side, people saying, this is it. This is the best era ever. The mastering, the engineering, the options, the vinyl, the pressing plans. And listen, yeah, of course they've got a point. You've got Rhino HiFi, legitimate AAAs at a decent price, mastered by Kevin Gray. You got Rhino Reserve, just with basic packaging for what, $40? No deluxe packaging, I guess. No big box presentation. Absolutely no gimmick there. They're just audiophile level sound at a lower price. Simple, clean, normal jackets. It's pretty refreshing in 2025. We've had 4 or 5 years of big boxes, take up space. We got Analogue Productions setting the bar high with their UHQRs and Atlantic 75 series and the new Rhino 45 series. Of course, mobile Fidelity. Pretty much going into what I call a huge transparency shift at this point, rebuilding, reapproaching their mastering philosophy. We got Impex. They keep delivering, I want to say, museum quality editions, insane attention to detail, which is true if you look at those. Universal jumped into it with their Vinlphyle, hitting big titles, wide reach. They got a huge, massive amount of titles to, I guess, press if they wanted to. You got Because Sound Matters. Had Grover on last week. REM just came out. That's a fun one. And you got the Definitive Sound series, which of course was REM, sorry. All AAA, great choices. Now, let's think about this. 10, 20, 30 years ago, did we have this much quality? We did not have this many mastering engineers, did we? We did not have as much competition raising the bar. Now, the argument, I said it, is this the golden age? More choice, more quality, more care than ever before. But then there's the other side of the debate. That side says, Steve, stop this. This is not the golden age. It's the golden age of price gouge. I'm like, okay. People are feeling overwhelmed. People feel priced out. You're looking at $60, $80, $125 reissue from one album. Where is this price point going? Is it sustainable? What's the long-term trajectory here? Well, we've got multiple labels releasing the same titles. You got that redundancy, competing mastering change, file-based cuts, premium AAA versus digital versus half speed. We still get those battles, I think. I'm not worried about that, but I guess we get that. And market where audiophile, and this is saying audiophile seems to be creeping into sort of the norm now, right? It's becoming more of a marketing term. Seems like every label is an audiophile now. So here's the question. Are we experiencing a historic era of quality, or are we just experiencing the most crowded, most competitive, most expensive era ever? So, well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. A two-sided conversation. There's no hype, no sugarcoating. This is not anything but just honest opinions from my guest. And they're going to break it down for me. I've got Adam Tiro, a deep collector, deep thinker. He knows his stuff. He's also a singer and songwriter in the band The Freight. I've got Michael T. from Seattle. He's bloody walking encyclopedia when it comes to mastering approaches and pressing change and reel-to-reel tape. And Dana McKissick, a longtime collector, has a very interesting collection of records and does incredible reviews of a lot of the different albums as well in the different Facebook posts. So today we're covering quality versus quantity, AAA versus digital change, how different labels approach, I want to say in quotations, audiophile, where the prices are headed, and what actually makes a pressing audiophile. What actually makes a pressing audiophile in 2025, not just marketing, not just hype. So this is the conversation people have been waiting for, I think. Oh, I hope so. Let's bring them in. Guys, golden age of reissues. Dana, I want to start with you right out of the gate. You heard it. Thoughts?
I agree. I can't argue with anybody who says that there is price gouging going on. There's a lot of labels releasing product that claims to be audiophile remastered. It's not. It's just a price gouge. But bottom line, there are releases coming out now that sound better than the original pressings I have, that sound better. I'm hearing things in some of these releases that I've never heard before. And these are albums that I've heard hundreds, maybe even thousands of times. So that to me says, yeah, it is a golden age. It is a crowded market. There's a lot of misinformation. I hope we can clear some of that up today.
Let's do it.
It's exciting. It's absolutely exciting. I have FOMO, so that I fully admit it.
Hang on. You still have FOMO after we know that nothing sells out in 2 minutes like it did during COVID?
Wow. I do. And limited edition. So I've gotten better. And there's been a lot. I used to drink the Mobile Fidelity one-step Kool-Aid, and I had every single pressing. And I've now started to realize, wow, these $125 pressings don't sound any better or worse than these $60 pressings. So why even bother keeping them? So I've started a purge on the records. Like, I'm never going to listen to this particular version again. Why do I have it? So,
well, and we're going to get into that as well, because I was thinking about this too, and I'll ask Adam to go next. But and just sort of let this sink in, and we'll sort of talk about this before. Sort of return on your listening investment or your listening value, like how much you're paying and how much time you're listening to this record, and we'll get into that as well. So just think about that, because I think that's important going forward if you're going to be buying $200 box set. I know this sort of came up. There's been a lot of videos, a lot of people talking about the anthology box set that just came out, and they're thinking, well, I bought this 30 years ago. I bought it. I listened to it once. I'm going to buy the other new one for $200 if you're buying the CDs, or $500 and something Canadian if you're buying the LPs. How many times I'm going to listen to this? Because honestly, I listened to this once since I bought it. 1994 was it? So 30 plus years ago. So we'll get into that as well. Adam, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. You heard it. So what are your thoughts? You heard Dana. You heard what I said at the top. Are we in the golden age?
Yeah, I think it's probably tough to argue that the amount of reissues, even now with Universal getting in on the business, I think opening the door to just a huge amount of titles for more high quality reissues. I'm all for the high quality reissues. I think what bums me out is getting bitten by new reissues that sound like crap. That's one thing that bugs me. So that's why I think knowing that something's high quality out of the gate, like, I get it. It's maybe a little overwhelming, and maybe some people are strictly just OGs, which I totally get and respect. But to me, I don't mind the options. I like knowing when something's sourced well. I like knowing that whoever made the record put time into trying to make it sound good. I can't tell you how many records I buy that are new with no sort of source information, and get them home and they just sound like crap. And that, to me, that's a reissue that I'm not going to, go revisit. So to your point about that. So
Michael, yeah. Well, Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we're definitely in the golden age of reissues. It's at the point now where you can have, I don't know, maybe it's oversaturated, because there's some reissues where you have like a Bernie Grunman version, a Kevin Gray version, a Sterling Sound version, a Matthew Luthen's version. There's multiple ones, all audiophile at the same time, right? So and you get to pick and choose. But for me personally, there's things I want that are UHQRs, for instance. But like, I would rather get 3 or 4 $40 like Rhino HiFi or Vinlphiles versus one UHQR at this point, unless I really, really love the title. Like right now, I'm on the fence about the Charlie Brown Christmas, the UHQR. That's one of those. I'm like, I'm gonna play it 2 times a year, maybe, right?
Yeah.
But I know it's gonna sound great.
Yep.
But is it worth spending $150 on it?
And it's a 30-minute record, and I don't mind 45 RPM. I don't mind getting up and flipping. That's my couch. That's my stereo. I don't mind at all. But that one I'm on the fence on too.
Yeah.
There's
only 2,700 made, so it's gonna sell out eventually.
What about the 45 RPMs? Are you guys pro or con? I think Dana's all right with it. He likes exercise.
Yeah, I need it.
Adam, I do too. I don't mind it. I'll say this one thing that, like, Michael, to your point, is like when it's not your favorite record, right? Or when you're like trying to make a choice between like the Rhino HiFi version or the Atlantic 75 version. And even this new Rhino series that's coming out that they're doing on 45s, like there's a little bit of redundancy, and I don't 45s don't bother me, but like now that I see some of the choices that like, oh, I might be able to grab that in the hi-fi version if I do want a reissue of it. Then I'm like, I might opt for the 33. But I don't mind 45s. I appreciate 45s very much.
I think going forward, I talked about this return on your listing value. Does that make a lot of sense to people as we do that? So I did a little formula here. I'll put it up. So take a look at this. So ROLV. So I got a investment background for 30 years. So total listing hours cost divided by cost of the record. So for instance, now if you're buying a $200 box set, just work with me here. And you listen to it for 1 hour. 1 divided by the $200 that you spent, that's 0.05 hours per dollar that you're spending on this. Maybe too early for math. My point is how many hours, the more hours you listen into this, obviously your return on your listing value goes up. Most people, and this is what I'm getting back to, and I'm lots are saying, hey, I don't want this anthology any longer. I'm not going to listen to it. Why would I want it to sit on my shelf and collect dust? I spent $200 on it, and my return on my listing value is very limited. So again, I know this is a hobby, and we've talked about this before. This is not an investment. These things that we do, these aren't investments, okay? We all know when we pass, most of our stuff goes into the landfill. That's just a fact of life. So people don't want our stuff after we're gone, or they'll sell it to a big record store for 30 cents, 40 cents on the dollar. That's fact as well, because no one's piecing these things off one by one on Discogs. That's impossible. Not going to happen. Right. So enjoy it, listen to it now. But yeah, if you're going to buy a $150, $200 box set, you better start listening to it a lot, because your return on your listing value is going to be very low otherwise. And I'm guilty as charged. I look at going back to the one steps when Blood, Sweat, and Tears came out, or Janis Joplin one steps. I was all over those, or Muddy Waters. I spent $125 US, equates to almost $280 Canadian. I've listened to each record once. So
the Paul Simon didn't do very well either. That was not the best pressing. That sells for about $50 now too.
Yeah.
So going forward, you got to be smart about it. And I always said, I think every single show I've been consistent. Guys, have a budget. Just don't jump just because, Westman's talking about this record, or Michael's saying this, or Dana's reviewing all these different Rhino HiFis on the Rhino page. Just stop for a second. How many times are you going to listen to stuff? Look around you. Look at all the records you're not listening to.
Mm-hmm.
So are we just jumping on to FOMO in a way? Not the FOMO like, oh my gosh, I have to sell it out, but more like, hey, I want to just keep up with Dana, so I better buy it as well. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I want to jump back to something you mentioned, that the 30 cents on the dollar when I pass, is that the price I actually paid for the record, or the price I told my wife I paid for the record?
Your wife is going to basically, that's funny. That's what, if you go into a big record store, again, 30, 40 cents on the dollar.
I'm actually all set. So this is all insured, separate rider, but I also have a local record store, David Deep Groove. Sorry for the shout out. He is my jazz guru, and he has turned me on to some of the best jazz music I would have never found otherwise.
Yeah.
And he gets my whole collection, because I know he'll give my wife a fair price.
Love this, Scott Wheeler. So his return on your listing investment here, total listing hours divided by cost of record and cost of system, if you want to put that in as well. There you go. We're really getting deep. That's a lot of math this morning.
I want to add some more math, though. You have to add in there the depreciation, the wear on your cartridge. If you have an expensive cartridge, is the record worth playing on there? Or are you going to, you know what I'm talking about? What if you're wearing out your cartridge on a record you don't really like?
Wow. Okay, I don't know if that's too deep or too nerdy.
I have an answer. I have an answer for that. It's I have a separate turntable. I have in this room. There's a little game area, and I've got an old Vintage Techniques, an old Vintage Pioneer, and if I have garbage pressings, that's where I play them.
Yeah.
And I think too, like looking at this, Mr. Lavelle 71, he's saying, I think a lot of people cut off this 40 to 60. Especially us Canadians. I'm Canadian. It's still even a $60 record when you figure in exchange and shipping is $100 to my door. So who would have thought 30 years ago that someone's spending $100 to listen to Donald Fagen's Nightfly? Do you know what I mean? Like that, if you look at it. So again, prices on everything are going up. It's not just specifically the vinyl industry or the record industry, everything around. Look around you. housing prices, cars, everything. So when one says, oh, records are so expensive, well, everything's so expensive. And that has a lot to do with minimum wage, a lot to do with the standard of living. We know all this stuff. I mean, it's stuff that you experience on the news every day. It is an expensive hobby. I mean, Scott Wheeler said it here. But when I consider how much I pay for my concerts, exactly, I really wanted to go see ZZ Top was in Vancouver over the summertime, and they weren't even playing at a big venue, like it was a casino venue type, 2,000, 3,000 people in Vancouver, and tickets were $500 each US.
Crazy,
I'm like,
dude.
I'm not doing that.
It's crazy. Tickets are insane. That's a big whole nother topic. That's the way that it's like rotating with Ticketmaster too. How like how much a show is selling can like instantly Ticketmaster like automatically reacts to it and drives up the price. It's awful.
DNA, I rarely have time to listen to my records, but I still buy them. I guess this is the disadvantage of collecting vinyl. And I encourage everyone, I know watching some of the comments today, I know a lot of the people watching, they do listen to the records, but others that have a nice collection, get out there, listen to them. Life is short. Like every day, make a commitment to it, not just looking through the different Facebook pages and Discogs and watching videos like this and streams like this, but just get out there and drop the needle on some of this stuff and enjoy it. Why do you have it otherwise? It is a golden age. There's a lot, and Michael was saying this, there's a lot of selection. There's a lot of the same titles from different mastering engineers now. So you have that. You don't have to buy, like Dana did, and we'll get into that, 6 different copies of Belladonna and compare all 6 copies if you don't want to. I mean, you can take Dana's advice and his review and say, you know what? That's a good review. I'm going to use the Rhino HiFi as my source and buy that for $60. Or, hey, maybe he likes the MoFi better. So again, you don't have to go out and do it yourself, because buying 5 or 6 copies of the same record will cost a lot. That's for sure.
It's not smart either, and it's not sustainable. Don't do it. As a guy who used to do it all the time, I will admit my favorite album of all time is the Electric Light Orchestra's Out of the Blue.
Great
and
album.
I do have 51 different unique presets. Wow. So, and that's just me. That's
hold on,
cool.
51. So do you know how much you would have spent on those 51 if you were to like just?
None of them were purchased expensively. I'm cheap, okay, despite having UHQRs and all, a lot of MoFis. When it comes to eBay, well, I don't buy anything on eBay anymore. Used to be, if you waited and were patient, most of my used MoFi collection was purchased for a fraction of what they go for now. And this is even just like 10 years ago or 7 years ago. Now it's crazy, but I'm patient and I can wait. And so I'd say that the most I paid for any of those pressings was $50, but more of them would have been in the $20 to $20 range, something like that.
And that's where a lot of the argument is now. It's like, oh, I'm just going to stick with the OGs. But even the OGs, if you go into the record stores, because we got to remember, when you walk into a record store, these record store owners bought a big collection. They put up the cash for it. They need to sell it to make their investment back. So they're not in it not to make money. So they're not just going to give stuff away just because you came in and won it for that price. They've bought collections for, like I was mentioning, Dana or Adam, for $40 or 40 cents on the dollar or whatever it might be, right? They bought the whole thing, sight unseen, said, boom, here's your money. Sorry for your loss, Mrs. McKissick, and they move on, right? Wait,
are you trying to tell me something?
but you know what I mean, right? And that's reality. This is the reality of our hobby as well, is that it does, at some point, you got to look at where we're getting our value from. And I mean, having 18 copies of Dark Side of the Moon, is that smart return on your listing value? I mean, really?
No, but it's fun.
It's fun. I mean, I'm trying to be a Debbie Downer here. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. And I know we're mentioning, oh, well, I'm looking here. Rush tickets are insane. I mean, I want to go to Rush in Vancouver, but I don't know if I want to spend the money, right? That type of thing. I mean, they're expensive. Love to go see Rush in Vancouver. I think it'll be an incredible show. I mean, their new drummer looks unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think they couldn't have gotten a better drummer for that. So that's amazing that she's going to do incredible. But yeah, expensive. So a lot of the time you look at it, okay, maybe you guys had a budget for $1,000 a year to get for you and your wife or your partner to go out to concerts. Well, maybe that $1,000 now buying records. I mean, maybe that's where it is now. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys go to many concerts?
The last concert I went to probably a few weeks ago now, I actually went and saw Herbie Hancock.
Oh, nice.
In Boston. That was fantastic. But like I want to say it was probably like, I don't know, $160 per ticket. And we were like, they were decent tickets, but nothing fantastic. But other shows that I've looked at, like I've, you know, explored going to various things, and that really cost to kind of value ratio is wild. You know, you're talking about a night out, you know, that you're talking $1,000 just to go see a show at least, you know, with 2 tickets if you're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. I've stopped. Not that I ever went to a lot of concerts in my life. I grew up very poor, so it was very expensive to see concerts even then. But lately, I've just resigned myself to say I don't want to spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars to basically see a show from horrible acoustics, far away, where you end up watching the video screens more than you're actually watching the actual stage. There are so many wonderful little local venues here in Portland, Maine, where that just you can sit for $40 a ticket. You're 10 feet away from the artist, and great acoustics. And you know, it's not Rush. No, it's, you know, not ZZ Top, but they're great. It's some great music.
And supporting local artists as well.
That too. That too.
I like that. You know, I like that.
I know Adam's like, he's perking up. Yeah, it's good.
The local artist thing is big. It's a good way to see music. You know, it really is. It's one of the last affordable ways to do it. One thing to your point, Stephen, it was just that came to my mind was just kind of like conversely, or to factor into that equation that you came up with, which I like. But like, I think there are certain, maybe everyone's different, but for me, it would be the Beatles. You know, they're kind of my number one thing. But like, or whatever else, whether it's Dark Side of the Moon or whatever you choose it to be, that like there comes a point where like sometimes maybe it's not always about like just the music. It is about collecting something like the new anthology, or like, you know,
absolutely.
I bought the Red and the Blue and
haven't listened to it.
I
be honest,
not listened, and I will not listen to it. Yeah, and I won't, because I like other pressings of that better.
But you bought it.
Yeah, I gave it to my daughter. But like the point is, like, it's Beatles stuff. That to me is a line where it's like kind of above the music. And I've actually am really proud of myself. I haven't bought a lot of the new recent reissues, but I did get an anthology. That's another story. But I think that my point is, I guess, that there is a collector's line too, where like I do want to collect certain Beatles things.
Just to have, not necessarily for an investment, because we know like the Beatles stuff, and just everyone knows the Beatles stuff is a mass marketed thing. These anthologies will be around for the next 30 years. They're going to continuously make them until there's no more market, and these aren't going to go up in value. You don't have to run onto Discogs because, oh my gosh, Amazon sold out of them. I better go buy them now because I'm going to lose out. Don't be doing that. Don't get into Beatles FOMO. The only argument would be, well, Westman, what about the Beatles mono box? I mean, they only had, I think we determined anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 were pressed the last run this summer. Fine. You didn't pick it up. Well, I mean, you can buy it in the aftermarket, I guess, now for what are they, $1,000 if you want to, if you need to do that. I wouldn't run out and buy it unless you truly are a completist on that series.
Yeah, there are a handful of artists that get a pass for me as well, in terms of collecting records or just favorite albums. And I'm absolutely fascinated by, because people always ask me, you've got 51 copies of the same album. Yeah, that's stupid. Admitted it. But they always say, well, what's the best sounding pressing? And what the thing that I found is there's never, ever one best sounding pressing. This one might have better bass. This one's got better mid-range. The vocals are better. The soundstage is better. So I've been asked that question so many times. I've saved it in my phone, basically my 5 favorite pressings. So here, depending upon what's important to you in a mastering process, these are the 5 pressings that I would recommend. But I love that stuff. I love it.
Well, you did a good job. I mean, you posted in the Rhino HiFi fan group today on Facebook. You compared, was it 5 or 6 Stevie Nicks?
7
altogether. Oh my gosh. Sorry, 7 belladonnas.
Yeah.
And why? What was your best pick and why in those 7?
This is the first time I didn't just sit down and just kind of do it casually. I actually made a template, forms, because I decided it's 7 albums and I was going to pick 3 tracks. So that's 21 different listening sessions, basically. And I had to make sure that they were done undisturbed. So I did a little cheat, rated every song on 1 to 10. It's all posted on the
How long did it take you, first of all? Tell the folks.
3-4 hours.
That's dedication right there. He got a little bit of return on his listening value out of this one.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
And it was fun, and actually it will result in me eliminating a few of those pressings. So I did downsize my collection, but the bottom line is it's not an audiophile record by any means. And I also do audiophile in quotation marks, because what is an audiophile record?
Well, you know what, Dana, that was the saying at the top. I mean, audiophiles become sort of just the norm now for any record label, it seems.
Yeah.
So, I mean, back 5-6 years ago, and we were all doing it right during COVID, waiting and refreshing our screen, waiting for the next MoFi to drop or the next Analogue Productions to drop, and having to buy it or go down to these pre-orders or getting a special code because we had to get the next craft recording one step of Coltrane.
Oh, I remember that. I do. I do.
Guilty as charged, sir. I was right there, part of that.
Yeah.
And looking back, it was fun. I get it. And guess what? My return on my listening value for a lot of that stuff is pretty much not negative, but it pretty low.
And the other thing is, I remember when 180 gram meant audiophile. I'm like, no, that's just the weight of the vinyl. That has nothing to do with anything. So, yeah.
Because audiophile to me years ago would mean, okay, it's from the original source, right? Yeah. It's not digital. It's pressed on quality vinyl. It's one of the top engineers with the best equipment. That to me was always audiophile. Now the waters have been muddied a little bit, because now it's like, okay, we have MoFi is saying that DST is now audiophile because they're, so now a digital cut is audiophile. Now we've got just the normal $40 record is considered audiophile. I mean, there's really no line any longer. And again, it's become more of a marketing term than anything else, which is great. I'm not complaining about it. It gets more people in the market. And you guys know me from my show. I'm always promoting wider demographic of vinyl. I'm the first to say that. So to me, the record labels are looking at us going, okay, let's sell more to younger demographic, because in 10 more years, people that are buying the Beatles or buying Pink Floyd, there's going to be less of them buying them going forward. That's going to be fact. You can't argue that. Population grows. There's just more choices. There's going to be less of the demographic buying some of the older stuff from 50, 60, 70 years ago. There's no arguing that. It's not going to grow. The Beatles might still maintain a little bit, but I mean, some of the other artists.
The Beatles, I've noticed, and it's been funny you say that, Stephen. The Beatles are like that one thing that if you follow them on social media, their push for the young demographic is wild. It's so intense right now. They're going for it, and I don't know how successful.
And I love that. That's been my point.
It's
been my point. I'm pretty consistent there, show after show. Let's get the younger demographic in my kids' era, and in their 20s now, born in the early 2000s. That's what's going to keep this going. When we're really old and doing this show at 80 years old from our nursing home. I don't know if I don't think my Wi-Fi is going to work very well from my nursing home room, but we'll see. I'll try it back then, if they allow me, between all the activities and all the dinners I'm having.
It's gonna say turn the music down,
right? I won't be able to hear it, but anyways, but that's the thing. I think the Beatles might continue, but from a lesser extent. It's not going to be the excitement. There's so much more choices out there, right? And so this is a different age for music than it was 60 years ago, when you had very much a handful of bands to choose from. And the medium was just, you have a 45 single, you go to your record store, or the album if you can afford that, and that was that. Now it's just, you can get it on YouTube for free or Spotify, you name it. One of those. So it's one of those things. Yeah, I mean, it's
for me, it's I don't think my definition of audiophile is completely accurate, but for me, it's when I'm listening to a record, am I hearing more of the master tape now than I ever have? And I don't have the honor or the ability to hear the original master tape, so I'm assuming. But when I'm hearing details, music, instrumentation, things that I've never heard before, that's an audiophile pressing. And to me, the ultimate testament is when you stop listening to your system or the record and you just start enjoying the music. And that's happened time and time again, where I put a record on just to listen to a song or two, and before I know it, I've listened to the whole side and got lost in the music. And that to me is the very definition of an audiophile pressing.
Chris works with 5 people under 30. They stream everything. All new pop, K-pop, Taylor. I'm in back, classic rock, 55. Enough said.
So to answer your question that I never did, hang
on. I'm going to put it right up. Okay. What are we looking at? Tell me what you're looking at.
This is the Mobile Fidelity One Step of Belladonna, just recently released. This is the pressing you put on if you want to show off your system. This is the pressing you put on if you want to listen to the record.
What are we looking at?
This is the Rhino HiFi. Sorry for the glare. should take it out of the jacket.
Okay, so why do we want? Well, it's $60 versus $125. First of all,
Here in the States, 40 versus 125.
and it's 45 RPM versus 33. Are they both 33?
No, 45 versus 33.
Okay.
So you've got the Rhino Fidelity is a third the price. And to me, it's just the number one thing for me is balance. I don't like it when a record has over the top bass or something is just out of place. So when I put on an album and just everything seamlessly blends together, the vocals, the soundstage, those are the things that are important to me. And Kevin Gray, for whatever reason, that guy nails it for me 99 times out of 100. He and I, whatever he does, whatever magic he uses, how his ears are, I am in line with that because his records tend to sound the most balanced of a lot of these audiophile pressings that are coming out.
His equipment's the most tuned in as well. That's another thing that you need to appreciate. The equipment, he's very meticulous and in perfection when it comes to all of his equipment, which we learned, Michael, from Matt Luthans when Matt was with Kevin.
I wanted to find out about a couple of other pressings. How did the Ryan K. Smith Sterling Vinyl Me Please sound, and how did the original Precision Mastering sound?
So I was a member of Vinyl Me Please. That's the only reason I have that particular pressing because I didn't actually. Yeah, and I actually it surprised me. So toward the end of Vinyl Me Please's run, if you will, they had really gotten into using good pressing. Nah, they still use GZ, but they gotten into using good mastering. They started getting some going to original sources and going analog when they could, and it was a shame to see them go. But bottom line is that Ryan K. Smith pressing that's a very enjoyable spin. The shock for me was the original pressing versus the nice. The original pressing versus the 1983 MoFi, which I had always thought they just sound the same. To me, it's like, and what shocked me, that wasn't a Stan Ricker mastering. That was, for whatever reason, somebody else, I wrote it down somewhere, but
probably, is it Jack Hunt? Probably.
No, it was somebody who I'd never, John Tarner.
Okay.
Anyways, I saw JT2.
That was the 80, you said the 83 mobile Fidelity?
83. Yeah. And it really doesn't bring anything to the table that the original pressing did. So that was a surprise out of the whole
Dana,
thing.
so someone's saying the Steve Markison mastered Stevie Nicks is great sounding versus arguably the best and save $120. Again, returning your listening value as well. What do you think of the Markison? Markison's done some great stuff over the years. I have a lot of his
That's
stuff.
the one I was talking about, Precision. He worked with Precision. He's a great master. He was a great master.
He's got some great stuff.
Yeah. I have that's what my notes were. This is a shockingly good sounding record, and you could just buy this and stop there and not have to go through the nonsense. But to me, if you really, really, really love the album, the Rhino HiFi is the one to get, especially for $40.
So people want mastering engineers. We should put together in South Dakota another mountain with the faces of all the mastering engineers. Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny though too. I mean, 20 years ago, no one was talking about mastering engineers. Sort of coming into its own now, right? When I was looking at records years ago, I didn't look at the matrix. I didn't know anything about mastering engineers. I mean, I would have looked at the liner note and said, "Oh, Markison or whoever it might be, or Howie Weinberg." Okay, and just move on.
Yeah.
But now it's like a thing, which is good. I mean, we appreciate the different mastering engineers and what they bring to the final product, because they're the last ones to really listen to it before it gets cut onto a piece of plastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are in the golden age. I agree with that. I mean, this is a thing too. And this was big news. It was a week or two ago, our friend Arnaldo broke it on his channel, Fidelity's Frequency, the whole Rhino 45 Analogue Productions partnership here, as you can see. Some redundancy, but I mean, you've got some titles here that a lot of people are excited with. You're Jethro Tull fans. Hey, you've got four Jethro Tull albums. You got some Meters. You got some Little Feat. I know a few people that are excited about Little Feat, right? Or Tony Joe White, right? Couple albums there. Seals and Croft, couple of albums. The Ramones.
Montrose. I want to buy the Montrose.
The Ramones, 45 RPM. I mean, it's 8 minutes aside. Just joking, but I mean, pretty quick, right?
No, the Meters for me, that's like, but that Vinyl Me Please did some of the Meters pressings, and they were actually pretty good.
And Vinyl Me Please, were those Kevin Gray?
They used
Ryan K. Smith.
It was a little bit of everything. Chris Bellman did some. I think they used whoever they could. And there was a period where they didn't really care or couldn't. I don't know the history of Vinyl Me Please, other than I think they bit off more than they can chew. opened up too many different versions, different clubs, and I loved their pressings. They single-handedly turned me on to more music I would have never gotten into over the course of the 3 or 4 years I was a part of that club. But then the releases just started getting uninspiring, because the studios started realizing, hey, they're making money on our content. Maybe we should start releasing them ourselves. And that's exactly what happened, as the studio started basically releasing their own stuff. And there was very little left for Vinyl Me Please to release, or any compelling reason why their pressing would be better than something else.
Being in the golden age, I mean, we talk and Jefferson makes a good point. We're fixated on master engineers, but no one thinks about the recording engineers. And I mean, I'm going to ask Adam this, because Adam is a artist himself. He's cut a record. He knows they're the ones that capture everything in the first place. The master engineers to work with. So Adam, you've got a record with your band, The Freight.
Yep.
Your thoughts of what Jefferson's saying. I mean, you chose in your record, who is your mastering engineer, first of all, so you can tell the folks who he is.
So it's interesting. The mastering engineer is a Boston guy named Patrick DeCenzo. But then so what we did is we recorded through Analog Console to Pro Tools. So Pro Tools is digital. And then we had it mastered by Patrick DeCenzo. And then we took our mastered files once we approved the masters, and we sent them to Ryan K. Smith at Sterling. Nice. And Ryan K. Smith ran it through his Analog Console, recorded it to analog tape from his console, and then from the analog tapes, he cut the lacquer. He did the lacquer cutting too, Ryan K. Smith at Sterling. So, but Jefferson hit the nail on the head, like catching the performance of the artist that initially happens, making sure it's dynamic. That also speaks to the mixing engineer / producer, whoever's doing that. There's lots of important steps, but I do think that it can get muddied along the way, and maybe the further the pressings go, maybe the more popular the record, the more it gets reissued, things can get muddy, even if it was initially recorded really well, I guess it probably goes to, it's a larger question, but it probably goes to, as more huge titles continue to get reissued, how, I guess maybe true to the original isn't necessarily the be all end all way to say it, but how transparent are you with what you're doing to the original process? Like sometimes EQing has to happen in mastering, and that's fine. But yeah, thanks, Jefferson. But you have to like capture, artist intent might be too strong of a way to say it, but you have to capture what was originally put down. The performance has to be there. If it's veiled, if it's muddied, that could have happened in a remix, or it could have happened in a remaster. But all those things are important to pay attention to.
That's incredible. I don't know what the SARS code would be for your record, because he went from digital to. I'm teasing you. I
have it on the.
You do, yeah.
I did it on the back of the record. It's
a great sounding record too. And I mean, if people are joining late, your voice, Teddy Swims. I'm telling you. And I said this the first time I dropped it, and I text you right after, and I did. And even your guitar that you're playing. I just love the way you play your guitar on those tracks. And it's a great album. So where do you pick up the Freight album? Where can people buy it?
Thefreightband.com.
There it is. Pick one up.
Yeah. Thefreightband.com.
Support local artists. So don't go and spend $300 or $400 on a concert ticket. Buy The Freight for $40. $40?
Much appreciated. No, it's $30. But...
Well, even less. Okay, $30. Yeah. Then take your wife to Starbucks and buy 2 rip-off coffees.
Exactly.
That's $40. There you go.
buy us coffee for the week.
So yeah, I mean, golden age of audiophile. Yeah, audiophile has become more of I think a marketing sort of trend, if anything now. Really, where does it go from here? I'm not quite sure. I think we're really enjoying some great pressings. I got some cool stuff here, and this is again. This is for Record Store Day. Rashan Roland Kirk, Vibrating in the Village. You guys heard of this one? This is a Record Store Day. It'll be a Black Friday release. Mm-hmm. If you're into jazz and live stuff, this is cool. Good. This is incredible. This is from Renaissance Records. It's recorded back in like 1963. And Rashan Roland Kirk, it's a tenor sax player, plays the flute, obviously does vocals, and whistle. It's interesting. It's not something I'd listened to before, to be honest with you, and I was really impressed with it.
Nice.
So this is a Record Store Day release coming up, and then I have his other album here. This is what was this one? Live at the Penthouse. Take a look. Rashawn Roland Kirk. So again, I like one of my goals into 2025 was to not just listen to the everyday classic rock, which people are saying, well, Westman, it's boring. You got to sort of expand your listening palette, and I definitely have done that, and this is stuff that I've done. Sounds great. So these are all Record Store Day coming out, I guess Black Friday, right? Coming up on Friday, the 20. What day is that? The 20. Is that the 26th?
28th. 28th.
28th.
Sorry, 28th. Yeah.
Okay, and then look at this, Michael. Impex sent me this. AB sent me this one. Music for Abandoned Heights, John McLaughlin.
Oh, we
nice.
have a new
Ooh, that's
album coming
cool.
out, huh?
So what's cool about this is Impex, and it's a 24/48 digital recording, 24/48 digital mix, 24/48 digital master, and a 24/48 lacquer cutting
Wow.
by Impex.
So 24/48, that must have been made in probably the 90s, I'm guessing. When was this? It's not a brand new recording, is it?
I don't know what year. I just got it last night, so I honestly have not had a chance to even open. I haven't even opened it up, as you can see here. I haven't even opened
Seal,
up
yeah.
the
Are
seal yet.
those numbered, by the way? They usually are.
This is not numbered, so I don't know.
Maybe it's a promo.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if it's out yet in Impex, but wow, I'm excited to listen to this one.
That's cool.
It's the new album for legendary guitarist John McLaughlin, available on 180-gram vinyl exclusively from Impex. Includes an 8-page color booklet, so you get some tangibility here, right, when you're listening to it.
So now, Stephen, do you know if that's again, maybe I don't know if Michael, if you just asked that, but is that a brand new release or is that a reissue?
It says a new album from legendary guitarist.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's upcoming. It is a new release. Yeah,
it's a new
I saw
release.
AB was promoting it. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
I love John McLaughlin.
I will be listening to this today or later on today.
She usually has Bernie Grumman cut stuff. I wonder if Bernie cut that one.
Do you want to find out?
Yeah.
While you look, speaking of Impex, this one came and went really quickly. The Dan Fogelberg souvenirs.
What do you think of that one?
I like Dan Fogelberg. I put the album on, and the first cut, the hit, part of the plan, it sounded good. Nothing, and then starting with track 2, and then for the rest of the album, it's one of those records I put on and I got lost in the music. It just sounded so good. It blew away my original pressing. Nice. They did a really nice job.
Chris Bellman.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'll be picking that up.
Yeah,
I really like John McLaughlin a lot.
Oh, look at this. That's the one thing about Impex. I think I said that at top. They really get into their artwork, into their inserts and stuff like that, which I appreciate. And that's the one thing. If you can spend the money on some of these records, let's get some tangible stuff, not just a one insert. Like they put time into this, as you can see.
They do a great job.
Right.
I think it's interesting to bring Impex up. They're not always talked about, but the Impex reissues that I've had, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but they seem to. I haven't had a miss with any Impex reissue that I've bought.
No,
me neither.
Yep. Me neither. I will, and I don't want to open up a can of worms here. Or maybe I do want to open up a can of worms.
We're on the show. Why not?
The one I've got it sitting here. I was going to save it for last. So the one that I have of theirs that they're one step of Jennifer Warren's famous Blue Raincoat.
That's right. Yeah.
It opened up something, and I believe it was Kevin Gray who mentioned it's about one steps. He's not a fan of one steps, I believe. It's what I've read. And what I've discovered that a one step can, to me, get you closer to the original master tape. Logically, it makes sense. That's what the whole purpose is, I believe. But sometimes that's a bad thing. So Jennifer Warren's famous Blue Raincoat, early digital recording. I have the 45 RPM Cisco, which I think is very, very, very good sounding. To me, the one step sounds better, but you hear all of the, I don't want to use the word artifacts. I hear early digital. It just sounds too metallic, too harsh, too brittle, it's I don't want to use the word too good because it's not good, but that was the only disappointing release I've had from them. What it's like, I think there are certain titles that can benefit from a one step, and I think there are certain titles that it hurts the sound of the original album.
The only argument with one step that if you're a purist about, oh, I got to save the tape because we know they have to run the tape. If they have,
Right.
let's say it's a 3,000 press run, that's at least 5 or 6 times, right? So
Yeah.
again, preservation of the master tapes that you're running in a lot. But we found out throughout the years that 60, 70-year-old tapes are in good condition as well. So, I mean, running them a few more times for one step to get the best quality out, I mean, one can argue, hey, it's not a bad thing. Or some can argue, well, it's wrecking the tapes.
Well, the thing is, you're not running them on someone's home machine.
Well, that's the thing,
right?
It's not, it's not Michael T's machine behind him here. Which is a good
that
machine.
one actually was
Don't get me
done by
wrong.
an expert. That was done by an expert. But no, what I'm saying is, you're not running it on some machine you bought on Craigslist or eBay. They're maintained by meticulously, and these guys know what they're doing. They're not going to damage the tape.
Jefferson was asking here, this is mastered and cut by Chris Bellman. I mean, Bob Donnelly has been on the show many times. He was an associate producer for it as well. I'm excited about this one. This is going to be great sounding. But interesting, though, too, right? I mean, 2448 digital recording. It was a 2448 digital mix, and they have it. It's all there. So, I mean, they're pretty.
I just want to look real quick. I have mine here. I'm just looking now. I have, when you said the source, you said 2448.
Yep. It's 2448 all through four. Yeah, there it is.
So this was, I had to look because I didn't remember if it was 24. I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
What does it say? 2448 tape console. Yep.
Yeah. So I didn't know if we did 24 192, would it be? But
196. Yeah.
196. Yeah.
Or it goes 96 and then 192. Yes.
Yeah. I couldn't remember which it was, but so that's the same as we did too. So I mean, I think that's is maybe indicative that it was recorded Pro Tools, because I believe that is a Pro Tools standard. It's probably a across the board standard. You set that at the beginning when you start the session if you're doing digital.
There you go. Did you bring any other picks, Adam? I know
I did. I have some.
Show me. I'm curious. I'm curious to know what you're listening to.
Well, I started. I did bring the 2 vinyl files that I got.
What do you think of the name Vinylphyle? I'm confused with it.
I don't know.
It's got LP. It's got LP in the middle. That's kind of funky. That was a cool AI trick.
Yeah.
So you got the band Southern Light, Southern Cross. You got Bob Marley and the Wailers, Exodus. Okay.
Yep. And I bought these. I probably, like other people who bought them, I was kind of taken by surprise when I got an email one day from Universal Music saying that this new series was out. I was, and it was only, I think if you guys saw it, it was only like 4 titles or something. And the band, Bob Marley, Velvet Underground, and Nat King Cole. And I haven't had a copy of Exodus in a while, so I was like, all right, I'll try this. And I'm a huge fan of the band. I love the band, and I actually don't have a copy of that record either. So I was, I've heard people say the Velvet Revolver one's great too. And I listened to them. I've had them for about a week now. They're really good, man. They're to my ears anyway. They're really good. The Exodus, like I didn't have the FOMO on not getting any of the UHQRs, but Exodus was one that I was probably most on the fence with purchasing, the UHQR. But now that I have this, I'm good with this. It's 33. It sounds really great.
That's all you need.
So I'm not going to go for the UHQR. I'm sticking with this no matter what. I'm not doubting that the UHQR might be better in any way. It may be and probably will be, but like this is one of those examples where I'm taming it a little bit, right? And I'm going to stick with the 33 and stick with this. I really like it.
I think this just makes it a lot more difficult for some companies to sell records at $125 if these are coming out at 40. You get to a point where
I ordered the Nat Cole. It's coming today, as long with the Velvet Underground. But I was on the fence about the Nat King Cole because I know there's also a one-step version coming out. What's $125? Is that what it costs? So that was 40. That's an example where I was like, I'm not going to listen to this enough to spend $125 on it. But that one was sourced directly from the original 3-track masters. I mean, it's probably a generation closer than the one
Yeah.
that Vinlphyle is putting out. So there will be somewhat of a difference, but
Yeah.
no.
For Nat King Cole, the ones that Steve Hoffman and Kevin Gray did a while ago, I think for Analogue Productions, they also used a 3-track all analog. Oh, those are still records I pull out on a regular basis to show off my system and to show people how good. You get the people who come in and go, why records? And I go, sit down, listen to this, and it blows them away.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I also I just brought a few examples, Steven. Do you want me to show another one? You want me to not? You want me to wait until you go around again?
Well, I asked Michael. He's got a couple. I'm sure he brought.
Well, just some stuff I bought recently used. I mean, I don't know. Some of it I already have. Some I don't have. Do you guys remember this band from the 90s called Lush? I just bought that about a week ago. Great UK band.
Very cool. Nice.
Really cool band. The song, the band, I think Love Life is the name of the album, I believe. Yeah, great album. This is a reissue. Anyway, sounds great.
Did that come out recently, Michael?
No, I think a couple of years ago. I bought it. It was actually in the used bin, so it came out a couple of years ago. Yeah, but one that continues to amaze me for being such a long 60-minute album, but it just sounds incredible. I actually got a second copy of it. Bob Ludwig's Def Leppard Hysteria. It's a DMM cut, but I can't believe how good this record sounds for having 60 minutes of music. Usually there's compression, you have roll off, but this is super dynamic. It's definitely worth seeking out original pressing if you're a fan. Mutt Lange produced it.
Agreed.
Yeah, but I'm like, holy shit, this is 60 minutes of music and it sounds this good. I don't know what Bob Ludwig did, but it's worth seeking out. And it's
Isn't that what they say? Oh, sorry.
Better than the reissues, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that what they say the DMM does, Michael? Is that the DMM because they can DMM cut so precisely, like
and you're cutting into copper versus lacquer too.
Yeah,
but it does have its own sounds. In-house GG Media has 5 DMM lacquers. I don't know if you guys know that. They have one. No, they have. I'm sorry, they have 5 DMM copper and 1 lacquer lathe. So they mostly cut DMM on their in-house titles. This is also a great album. This was actually reissued by Kraft. I don't have the one-step version. Is this the one that did? I can't remember.
No.
That was the other one. This is a really good album, though. I don't know if you guys do you know this album by Isaac Hayes?
Isaac Hayes, Joy.
Yeah, this is a fantastic record. I found original, sounds really good. Now I'm trying to remember the name of the one that they did. What was the one that they did?
Hot Buttered Soul.
Yeah, that's a great record too. I've been meaning to get that one.
It's so good.
Michael Jefferson's asking what pressing plant for the Ludwig Hysteria. Do you have any
I
idea?
have 2 different ones. Yeah, so for Mercury, just so you guys know what they would do, there would be a code on the corner for the pressing plant. This one says 49. So they would have codes for their pressing plant, so you can look it up on Discogs. Speaking of 45, I've had this for a while, but I just pulled it out the other day. Depeche Mode from Music for the Masses, Little 15. What I like about this 45, on the B side, they do a version of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, that's the B side. They play Moonlight Sonata, which is so cool.
That's really cool.
Totally left wing. Yeah. What else do I have? Let's see. Oh, I also got a new record from a band from Manchester, England, called Witch Fever. Have you guys heard of Witch Fever? This was an import. They're on Sony. Yep. It's kind of a punk metal band, all girl and all women. And this is their first album, Congregation. It took about 3 years ago. I really like this album.
Turn it around. What's the back? Oh, just the record.
It's just But the new album is called Thievery. This just came out. I got it from Amazon, but it's UK. Music for Nation, Sony Music. Big fan of that band. Cool. Oh, I also picked up a used pressing of this band called Red Cross. Have you guys heard of Red Cross from 1993?
Mm-hmm. I don't know them. No.
I heard it in a record store, and I was like, this sounds really good. And I found it, and I picked it up, Phase Shifter.
What's it like? What kind of music?
Kind of alternative 90s music, kind of pop, punk. Yeah, really good. Oh, I also got this last week. I found
you went on a shopping spree.
Oh,
okay, hang on a second. Are you budgeting, Michael? Are you budgeting like I try to tell everyone?
Now, this is Decca US. Sounds really nice.
I love that Decca label.
Yeah. And I heard about this from Michael Frember. The 45 of When Doves Cry sounds incredible. Have you guys heard about this one? It's got so much more dynamic range than any of the versions that are available.
That's cool.
And it's only $5 or $6. You know, I got that on Discogs actually. Yeah.
That's just a 45. That's a 12-inch single.
Yeah, 12-inch single. Anyway, just some random stuff.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, this is the golden age of audiophile reissues. It's almost become a marketing thing now, too. Everything's audiophile. So we've got to decipher which ones we want, how much you want to spend. And I think this is the best time ever because the choices are incredible. It's just redundancy. I think that's going to be the concern. We need to see other artists go on the audiophile label. If it's Universal, if it's Rhino HiFi, Rhino Reserve, Analogue Productions, Mobile Fidelity. Now, you know who hasn't gotten into the game yet? Are these guys. They're going to be thinking, hey, maybe we should get into this game. We've got a little bit of a catalog. We can do it too. So if Sony execs are watching, jump on. Let's really make it a golden age. Really have some fun. Redundancy, though, too. That's the one area. Like, let's start to see if we can get things that haven't been cut or pressed a million times. Honestly.
And I made a note of that. It's like what I love, the trend I'm starting to see through Rhino Reserve and some of the other ones is we're seeing records traditionally not considered to be audiophile recordings given audiophile treatments. And I am 100% on board with that because how many times can they re-release Kind of Blue or, you know?
Hey, Steve, our friend Levi's on Black Belt. Hey, Levi.
Is he?
Look at that. Let's
Levi's
do this,
awesome.
Sony.
See,
Hey,
I
Levi.
told you. So Levi, so I'm not,
Right.
This would be cool. Sony Hi-Fi label. Let's go all day long. But for a good price. I'm talking $40. Keep it at 40, honestly. Keep it at 40. Please. That's for sure.
My thing with that is, I don't know how you guys feel about this. Redundancy is one thing. I guess choices are cool. Like if you want the 45, if that's your thing, go for it. If you want the 33, I think the thing that's starting to bug me a little bit with the redundancy. Again, I don't mind the redundancy necessarily, but like I wish there was more upfront announcement of like, all right, if Analogue Productions is doing it at 45, you know, still affiliated with Rhino or whatever, but that there was still just like, hey, by the way, you know, we're eventually going to do a 33 of it and on Rhino HiFi, you know what I mean? And that way you can just choose, you know what I'm saying? I know that's probably hard with the licensing and to like get it out.
Well, also too, I'd say from a marketing perspective, they're not going to do that. Think about that. It's all about money, baby.
Yeah, that's where the finance comes in for sure. I get that.
They're not going to phone us up and say, Steve, by the way, we're going to do a 33 in 6 months. So just don't tell your viewers.
Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone right now. They're not going to do that.
No.
Well, that's the thing. Getting back to it, I mean, you got the Flaming Lips coming on the Rhino Reserve. I got one of their albums behind me here, and those are great sounding records. I love what they're doing with the Rhino Reserve, and I have no idea. I had no idea. No one tells me the titles of the reserves, so I'm not in the know with that or anything like that at all. I love seeing some of those titles drop. I mean, last week,
some of the Rhino Reserves have been great.
And what are they? They're $39 as well. Or are they less?
32.
No, they're cheaper.
So that is really,
32.
I mean, that if you're talking about price point and you're getting stuff that hasn't been done a million times, Rhino Reserve's got it. They've nailed it.
The America title is literally half the price, 32 versus 65 for the 45 RPM. That's going to come
and I want to make a note of something as well on those Rhino Reserves. A lot of them are now cut by Matt Luthans, okay?
Yeah.
And so for years, we're hearing about, why doesn't Kevin Gray cut more on his tube machine? Well, this is what the Mastering Lab does. It's an all-tube mastering chain. So all of Matt Luthan's stuff is all tube. You're getting everything an audiophile would want to have for $32, plus not the redundancy of some of these titles.
And they're pressing Fidelity record pressing.
These things should sell out. These things should sell out because all I hear is complaining about, we're seeing the same thing over and over again. The same, Stevie Nicks, the same Graham Parsons on two different, you know what I mean? We're seeing all that. This is the time, guys. Eat these things up.
Like that Alan Toussaint, Rhino Reserve. I don't know if you guys heard that one.
Amazing.
So good. And that one is like, so I think that's a really good example that like people probably say an original that might sound great, but you're paying, $50 to $100 for an original, for a clean original, right? And you can spend $28 or $30 and get the Rhino Reserve. And it does sound really good. I don't have an original to compare to, but I have that one and I listen to it and I enjoy the hell out of it. That was a fantastic reissue. It was really good.
I like this. All tube helps. Some recordings true, not universally better. Exactly. Just depends on what your listening palette is at. A lot of guys, a lot of people like it.
The Tango in the Night that Rhino HiFi did.
That's been
the Rhino HiFi that Reserved it is way different than the MoFi.
Way
45. Way different.
Way
like night and day.
Yeah.
So that's what you're going to get out of the Rhino HiFi from the Matt Luthen side, the Mastering Lab, which is Doug Sachs's old equipment.
Yeah.
So everyone knows.
But the MoFi sounds more like the original, wouldn't you say, Dana? That
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I appreciate. I always appreciate what the mastering engineers are trying to do in terms of going a certain direction. And Tango is a very 90 digital sounding that whole production sounding. That is a phenomenal.
You need
album.
to buy this record.
Phenomenal.
No,
album.
it's beyond phenomenal in terms of sound. I was blown away. I hadn't heard the record before. Put it
Tell
on.
us the name. Which one?
Roy Brooks, The Free Slave. Buy this. This is
I almost pulled it out.
Muse Records.
Yes.
Dana, would you not agree? This is absolutely, if you want one of the best sound. This is almost like if you want to test your system.
I'll go get my copy. Hold on.
It's good.
You're feeling left out.
There was a few that came out too. There were all three of them that came out were really good.
And then again, this is AAA cut directly from their analog tapes, Matt Luthen. So this is the mastering lab, going back to the all tube mastering. This is a must-have. Test your system, Dana. Would you agree? Like this blew me away.
100%, and it's a live recording. Right. So my buddy Dave Deep Groove is my jazz guru, and he literally, I walk into a store and whatever he's playing, it's almost a guarantee I'm going to buy it because it'll be amazing. But he just hands me the record and say, "Here, take this home." I'm like, "I trust you." Okay. I didn't even ask him to put it on. I'm like, he knows my taste. So yeah, it is absolute worth buying.
See, Mr. Lavelle noticed I made a pack beginning of the year. I got to get more than just the vanilla stuff, classic rock. Everyone's like, Westman, put some more stuff on. So I said, yeah, I got to get more into jazz. And I was into jazz when I was in high school in my band. So yeah, I got back at it. Some great
and of
stuff,
the three that came out, Stephen, that one you pulled up is I would say of the three that came out.
This is the best of the three. I have all three, of course. This is the best.
I have all three too.
Who put them out?
This is Muse Records. So it's Feldman's label, Time Traveler Records, I think it's called.
And is it Kraft involved in that?
Is it? I don't know. I'm just looking at the label. It says Muse Records, Master Edition, and the Time Traveler Records. Yeah. I'm not sure, but it says Muse Records again.
There was three that came out on the same day, I believe, and I bought all three as well.
Sounds
all three
so
are really good. But Stephen, you say that of the three, I think that's probably the most intense listen as far as jazz goes.
Yeah.
So I think that that there you go. It says right there, you're listening to that intense jazz, Stephen. You're on your way.
I'm glad I'm on my way. Yeah. Going from listening to Led Zeppelin to the Ludwig cut to this.
that is my one category because I separate my records out by genre. We'll go back one step further. My records are alphabetical by genre, by artist, by chronological, by release date. That's how weird I am. But that's how I find my records.
Love it.
Anyway, my jazz collection over the course of, it started out was mostly 60s, 70s, 80s rock, pop. Now it's jazz is continually the fastest growing collection in my collection.
And we didn't even mention this. I mean, Decca's got their analog label as well. So the Decca Classics analog label. It's another one. So they could. That's a new analog label. So it just continues. So Sony, if you're listening, would be nice just to get it all out there. But think about this. I mean, these Rhino Reserves for $32, you can buy 5 of them for the price of a one-step or a UHQR. Now, returning your listening value here, that is the wheelhouse right there for me.
So I want to talk about. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, you go. Quick question. If any of us audiophiles want to expand into blankets of our favorite bands, where do you get the ELO blanket?
Okay, let's see this. I'm putting it full screen. Let's see it.
That was made by my wife. If you friend me on Facebook or on Instagram, I have photographs of what was involved in making that. There's a photograph with every color of yarn you see there in a different cup. And there's like 25 different cups spread out, and she would knit 2 stitches of this and 3 stitches of this color, then 4 stitches. She said it's the hardest thing she's ever made, and she does a lot of crocheting and knitting, and she said she'd never make it again. I said, what if somebody offered you $500? She goes, that wouldn't be worth it.
That's amazing.
How long did it take to make it?
We could probably sell a few today on the show, Dana. Let her know.
And around the corner is the most expensive Lego set I own, which is basically you can take any photograph and you can through it through a program, and it will spit out what color dots you need depending upon the size to make art, to make one of the Lego art things. And so I did the ELO logo, but the problem is you're buying all those individual little pegs on the secondary market. So and you have to, and literally you have to go through, but it was a blast. It was an absolute blast.
That's cool.
So this is
Dana,
the one.
the question for you there before you start. Sorry.
Favorite out of the blue pressing. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to bring up my phone real quick because
do you have this all listed on your phone?
I do
categorize it.
Well, when I have a note, so let me try to do this off. So sure. There's a the original German pressing is fantastic. From overall dynamics versus balance, great. The 1978 Japanese repressing is really punchy, really dynamic, a little lacking in the bass, but it's still a really good spin. Shockingly, the only pressing of that album, I think, done in the 90s was Simply Vinyl, if you remember that label, not known for audiophile. They basically took CD masters and put them on vinyl. But for some reason, their pressing of Out of the Blue it's clearly been juiced. It's clearly been altered, EQ'd. It sounds great. But you can't go wrong with an original Stan Ricker half-speed master US pressing, blue or black vinyl.
Good old Stan.
They're most of the pressings are a little noisy, and there was the whole controversy of, that was a record. I don't know if you know the story, that was both in the top 100 or top 10, I think, in Billboard charts and in the cutout bins at the same time, because of the whole licensing issue with UA and Jet and CBS, and literally their whole started a rumor that all the Stan Ricker original pressings were defective and pressed on dirty vinyl. And it's like, no, just marketing.
So the standard OG is the Stan Ricker half speed? I didn't know that.
It is.
Did not know.
Yep. And then there's an immediate repressing that happened right afterwards, which is not his pressing. I think you can see it right there. That's a sealed copy of the original Stan Ricker pressing on vinyl with the the little spaceship cut out. There's a sealed reel-to-reel, a sealed 8-track, and a sealed cassette. And those are the only 4 sealed things in this entire music room. I buy records to listen to, not to collect. So that's just my little shrine to that particular album.
So this summer, Supertramp was released. Some of the reissued again by, I guess, Universal. Miles Scholl cut them half-speed mastered, supervised by none other than Ken Scott in the studio. I was fortunate enough to get test pressings of the albums Crisis No Crisis, Crime of the Century, listen to them. Then I listened to my Speaker's Corner, listen to the of Crime of the Century, listen to my new test pressing of Crime of the Century. I'm like, there's a big difference here. I was like, is it me? Did it again. Not the output, the sound output of the new cut is so much lower, Dana.
Yeah, it is.
Than let's say the Speaker's Corner. And I mean, if you're into Speaker's Corner, and I love the Speaker's Corner, they really EQ these things. They're compressed. There's a lot of bass on them. So if you're used to that, you like that sound. Where these new Supertramp cuts, why they're so low is because Ken Scott supervised them. He told Miles, look, I want them to be as close to what they were in the studio. So when they're listening to these played back in the studio, that's what you hear. When the very first song, when you can hear the kids playing in the playground and all that, and the guitar starts coming in, it's so much more dynamic on the Speaker's Corner, even the original, than these new half-speed cuts that Miles did. If
you're gonna cut it low, then please make sure that the records are pressed at a good pressing plant. And I don't know what happened here, because I think it's Palace.
Yeah,
they've had some duds, but overall they're pretty good. These are noisy pressings, and I have a degritter, I have an Okino. I mean, I go through a process, and if you're going to cut it low and you're going to have a lot of surface noise, the experience for me is ruined.
So if I was to choose a Crime of the Century, I mean, Speaker's Corner #1, it's expensive. What is it, $300-400? Obviously, most people don't have the money for that, don't bother. But you can pretty much pick up a Canadian audiophile version. So it's the A&M audiophile version, which is actually has to be cut by Stan Ricker as well.
It is.
And so we call it the Canadian MoFi. So if you can find those,
they're
you can
great.
get those ones for $20 to $50, and that's all you need.
Yep.
If you
Agreed.
want. Yeah.
Agreed.
And those were pressed at JVC Japan.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, Audiophile, golden age, I think we have it. We just need everyone to get on board for a decent price. I think returning your listing value here is what we're looking at as well. So if you buy a record for $31 versus something for $150, do the math. I mean, you can get more records as well if you're buying for $32, right?
But in the world of high-end audio, you're
I
always
know.
paying,
There's never.
you're paying huge prices, incremental prices for small incremental improvements. And that's just kind of, I think that whole mentality of high-end audio is kind of maybe distilled down a little bit into these audiophile pressings. And it's a shame. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
Well, enjoy the golden age of reissues. Definitely is. Just be smart. Have a budget. I say this every single week. Have a budget. Don't get FOMO'd. Please don't get FOMO'd. Like my dad used to say, they make these things every single day. I mean, think about it, right? Fine. It was the Beatles were recorded 60 years ago. Sinatra 70 years ago. They're still making them. They'll make them again, as long as there's a market for it. Gentlemen, Michael T, Dana, Adam, thank you so much. It was a wonderful, wonderful chat.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.